We had some wild news come out today. A YouTuber based in Italy has found himself in hot water with authorities there because he covers emulation on his channel. Now, this is a complicated topic, so it's going to take me a minute to sort of explain what's going on here, but this is very, very interesting as it's one of the first times we're seeing legal repercussions for just talking about and owning retro gaming emulation hardware. So let's start at the top here and talk about this creator. So this is, as you can see here, this is Once Were Nerd, an Italian YouTuber who, as you can tell from the awesome backdrop he has here, focuses a lot on retro gaming. And he talks about emulators, he talks about retro gaming handhelds, he talks about, games that you can play and ways you can make your emulation experience better, on and on and on. And he covers a lot of gaming handhelds that you buy from China. And this is not a new thing. This is something that a lot of places cover. In fact, we here at Android Authority, we cover it too. So as you can see, this is a review that we did recently for the Anbernic RG Slide, which looks a lot like an old PSP and comes with these cool little joysticks and these, the buttons, and it's got this sliding mechanism, and it's a cool product. We gave it 4 stars. We talk about emulation experience on it. Pretty innocuous, talking about emulators. That's just what we do. Emulation is weird legally. Emulators in many, many countries, most countries around the world, including here in the United States, emulators are definitively legal. There is no illegal action that you can take by downloading an emulator. You can download it, you can tweak it, you can make it, you can do whatever it is that you want with it. Where the legal gray area begins is with the ROMs, the games that you actually play on the emulator. ROMs are much more legally gray. In a lot of cases, you can defend owning ROMs if you can show and prove that you own the actual game. So for example, if you have a ROM of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and you also have the cartridge Ocarina of Time, you could defend in court saying that all you did was back up a game that you already own, which is legal. However, most people don't do that. Most people just go online and download slews of ROMs from, wherever it is that you want to try to get them. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about that much here because I don't want to get in trouble, but that's kind of the focus of the story today. When you buy a retro gaming handheld, a thing like this Anbernic slide here, sometimes the companies like to ship them with micro SD cards inside the console that already include the emulators that you would need to play those games. Once again, owning emulators is not, illegal in most countries, so that's no problem. But Anbernic here, the company who made this particular console, sometimes ships with a micro SD card that includes not only the emulators, but also the ROMs. And recently, this year, in fact, hit some hot water for developing a piece of software that can come with these retro gaming handhelds that allows you to download pretty much any ROM that you would want for free. So you can see here, it's called Rixel HK. It comes pre-installed on certain hardware that the company sells. And yeah, it's basically just like, it's like a Google Play Store, except that everything is free and everything is a ROM from a console, a previous console. There's a lot of questions that I'm not going to really go into, like where do these ROMs come from, who hosts them, the data that you have to give over to the company to join into the store. But you can see in this image here, you can see what the store kind of looks like. You got your games listed here, and then you just have download buttons, and there's no payments or anything. You just hit the button and boom, you've got that ROM on your console. So yeah, Anbernic playing fast and loose with the law. So circling back to this YouTube video from Once Were Nerd, he describes that in April this year, Italian authorities raided his home and took a bunch of these gaming handhelds, confiscated them, for legal purposes. And they also confiscated his personal smartphone. And served him a penal statement, it's Italian law, so it's a little bit different than here in the United States, but basically said, you have been, we're investigating you for a crime, and that crime could result in jail time. He's not been arrested, he's not been charged with anything specifically, but he, the groundwork is laid for him to possibly face a fine or even jail time for doing what he does on this YouTube channel. So as far as we can tell, the thing that the Italian authorities are focused on is him getting a lot of these consoles. You know, he's a reviewer on YouTube. He's got a sizable audience. This video that I'm pointing at here has 98,000 views. So he's, you know, popular. And somebody who is popular and has as many retro gaming handhelds as he probably has is apparently been flagged by the Italian authorities. Possibly they think that he was distributing them, possibly. You know, maybe they thought that he was getting these retro consoles and then reselling them. That's why he had so many. He tried to explain in the video, you can listen to it yourself, he tries to explain to the authorities that he just reviews them and that everything's on the level. He showed them emails from the companies, you know, sending him these retro consoles to, review them for his channel and all that stuff. But apparently that didn't make any difference. So he still, you know, got in big trouble and lost all these consoles, and once again had his phone taken from him as well. So this is a very bizarre story, and the thing that's really crazy is that it sets a precedent. You know, in Italy, it sets a precedent of you possibly getting in trouble just for talking about retro gaming console handhelds. The weird thing is that this hasn't affected Anbernic at all. Like, you know, you can still go to anbernic.com as we see here, and this is one of their more popular console emulation devices here. And you can even see that if you get it from China, then you have these options here. So you can get the black with the 64 gigabyte card installed, and then an extra 128 gigabyte card installed. But if I decide I want to buy one and have it shipped from the United States instead, you'll see that all those options go away, and all I can do is get the one with the standard 64 gigabyte card. So the reason that is because the standard 64 gigabyte card is what has the, you know, the firmware and the software for you know, opening emulators and opening ROMs and doing all the things that you do with this console, but it doesn't actually have the emulators and the ROMs on it. But if you go to China or get it from China, you can go ahead and order one that's got a 256 gigabyte card, and it doesn't specifically say so on this page if you scroll around, but it's clear that it does come with not only ROMs pre-installed sometimes, but also, once again, the support for that third-party software, the Rixel HK, which it even says here on the page is a game downloader. So why are they going after the YouTuber talking about this instead of going after the company? And the reason is because this company and a lot of companies that make these consoles are based in China. And so getting your legal team to go and fight against them, or you know, try to take them to court or try to get some sort of penalties thrown at them is incredibly difficult. So they don't. Why Italy has decided to start going after the YouTuber instead is what's really confusing about this. Why would they think that going after him or others like him would be a deterrent for what Anbernic and other companies like this are doing? So yeah, this is a confusing story. It's kind of anger-inducing. It's kind of something that people who are big fans of emulation are upset about. I think that it's something that, once again, sets a bad precedent. You know, you're never going to solve piracy. You're never going to solve you know, people illegally downloading things for free by going after the individual user. We tried that. We tried that back in the day with music downloading when they arrested, you know, 14-year-old boys for downloading a couple of songs off Napster. We tried that, it didn't work. People still pirated. You know, it wasn't like people saw that story and were like, ooh, man, I better not pirate any games or any, you know, movies or music or anything anymore. No, if anything, it made it worse because they were like, I didn't know that you could pirate music. Napster, this is awesome. I'm gonna start downloading a bunch of tunes. So yeah, so going after the people who use these things is never going to solve anything. You have to go after the companies that are flagrantly breaking the rules, like Anbernic. And yeah, that's how you solve this problem. So I feel bad for the host here at Once We're Nerd. I hope that he doesn't, you know, get into too much trouble. I hope that this is something that sort of just like goes away. But yeah, I mean, just imagine somebody with this level of a channel on YouTube, you know, making money, living his life. This is his job, his business, all of a sudden being taken away. Like if he gets arrested and they shut down his channel or whatever, like that's that's it. Like his entire business is gone. And for what? For talking about a product online? Like Android Authority does that all the time. Like once again, here's our review of the Anbernic slide. Like, I mean, we talk about what it does and the things that you can do with it, the things that you shouldn't do with it, and on and on. But yeah, it's a strange story. So anyway, jump down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think that the Once More Nerd and other YouTube channels like this are playing with fire and they shouldn't be talking about these things, or do you think that the Italian government has overreached a little bit and maybe done something that they shouldn't have? Let us know in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.